Pub Battles, Brandywine. Today when I play, I'm going to play a speed chess kind of style. What I mean by that is that I'm not going to carefully ponder over each move. I'm going to draw the chit, move the command, and I'm doing that to simulate as best I can written orders, where you as the commander don't have absolute control. You're sending orders out and your officers are attempting to decipher and fulfill those orders, and also somewhat modifying it based on what they see in front of them, which may be different from what you're told is in front of them back at the HQ. So anyway, hopefully you'll see that some of my moves are less than ideal, less than perfect. Now I've started today with how having Cornwallis come in where he's historically did. I rolled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I rolled a 2, so they're coming on here. Starting on turn 4, because as you know, it took the first 3 turns to march all the way around and come back here into the battle. Plus he rested his troops after the 20-mile march. Now we're ready to begin. Also, at the suggestion of my wife, I'm going to start showing the chit draws. Through the movement phase, I speed through so there's no sound, but you'll be able to see that, okay, this is drawn, now these guys move, this is drawn, now these guys move, and hopefully that will make it a little less confusing, and then I'm going to sum it up at the end of the movement phase before combat. Let's see how this goes. Alright, this was first turn's move. Now I'd forgotten to place a couple of my detachments. So I put a detachment here because in the beginning I didn't know where everyone was coming on from. Washington didn't know where the British were coming from. So I stuck these guys here to block both the roads so they didn't get a full march move in. Here Sullivan has taken in massive attacks by the British. The rest of the British command is staying back. Now I just bring the British, I've been told, I don't know, I've been told that this road was the only reasonable access from this direction, so they had to come up this road. So I've had them do that. In the game setup ordinarily, you can come in anywhere on this side, and that makes a whole different game. So know that I'm doing that. Here, Washington's artillery opened up and damaged Nafassan's artillery. That's what that signified. Now Nafassan is just demonstrating. He's just got to keep these guys pinned to the river while Cornwallis sweeps up, takes them all in the flank. Let's resolve this combat. Here Stephen's Virginians were completely decimated, but they pushed back an elite unit and a regular unit. Turn 2. Here the light troops push forward, fresh troops have marched up, and he's brought on his baggage because he'd like to resupply these 2 spent units, but maybe move a little further inward before he unpacks bags. Those bags are not unpacked yet. Nafassan has unpacked his bags. His artillery was resupplied this turn, and he's still holding his position. Just the one combat in the woods. Dramatic. The British light infantry is destroyed, and Stirling went down with them. Turn 3. Here's a cavalry fight, dragoons on dragoons. They're also being flanked by a detachment of colonists. We'll see how that plays out. Here, Cornwallis's light runs into Maxwell's light. Elite on elite action. We've got the militia in front and regular British troops in front. Both are backed up by elites. British fall back. Maxwell bloodied but holds. Now Washington would really like to unpack his bags and rally some of his troops, but on the other hand, unpacking bags is really risky when you're going to lose ground, and he will lose ground. Turn 4. Whoops, I totally forgot a combat. Here, Nathaniel Greene has brought it to the British, crossing over the river. Nafassan's 71st falls back. Over here, Cornwallis has restructured and reorganized his line, ready to renew the combat. And over here, Nafassan is struggling to adjust to this new development they did not expect at all. Turn 5. And here you will see both sides have lost 3 blocks. The colonists have just had the regular blocks, but the British have cavalry and their elites. So at this point, the Americans have destroyed more British, point-wise. Alright, turn 5. Green moves after Nafasin, so he gets this very excellent attack, which is going to probably cost another elite unit. Over here along the river, Nafasin crossed. Cornwallis, in frustration, renews his attack. Muhlenberg's Virginians trap J. Grant's unit against the Brandywine and slaughter them. Ferguson's Scots go down. The Hessians are devastated as they cross the ford. Here the detachment survives the initial round of combat and voluntarily retreats, as does Maxwell. Cavalry facing infantry, the cavalry simply rides off. There the attachment evaporates. Turn 6. 2 comments. One, I thought it would be cool to leave the puffs of cotton on, let the smoke build up during the battle. But of course, like our historical counterparts, it would be so confusing you wouldn't be able to tell what was going on. So I'm taking off the cotton. Now at this point, as we begin turn 6, the British losses are so heavy, the British might have just decided it's not worth it. We're not going to do this fight here. We've lost too many men already. Or would they have continued? Well, we're going to continue. Alright, Cornwallis is pushing one more time. Green, feeling a bit cheeky, presses forward, but the artillery is over here, and he wants to stay in cover of the woods. Maybe he'll launch an attack next turn. Now, the Americans don't know this at this point, but all that Nafasin has here is this unit of Grant, which is a full unit, and their artillery. These are just detachments. This will fold like a house of cards, but the Americans wouldn't know that. There is a combat, a raid. Here again, of course, the horse simply runs off. Turn 7. Alright, the end of turn 7 movement. We start seeing the Americans begin to withdraw and to pull out from contact. Unfortunately, Washington is miscalculated. Let's get Sullivan back here too. And Knox's artillery, Nash's North Carolinians get boxed in. Turn 8, the final turn. Okay, the British, because they have lost 2 elite units, and the dragoons have lost a total of 28 points. Colonials have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16, 17 with the militia, 17 plus artillery of 4 is 21. So 21 to, what did I say here, 28? The British have lost more points than the Americans. So this has been a huge American victory, even though they're basically running off the battlefield. You could almost double the points of the British for losing stuff, because they don't want to lose. They want to minimize casualties. But the point is, even though the Americans are getting pushed aside here, they have done some serious damage. This would have been considered a major American victory.